on Instagram and Facebook. This is my first time live on Facebook, so I'm a little nervous about it, just hoping I do everything the right way. So hopefully it works. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay, comments are there, videos here. Okay, we should be good. So I'm just gonna give people a few minutes to join on both platforms, and then I am going to jump into it. Just move my stuff around. I'm kind of nervous tonight for some reason. But this project will definitely take the full hour, so I want to make sure that we do get started in the next couple of minutes. So if you jump on, let me know you're on and we'll get started. And I am going to try, move my phone up here. I'm going to try not to look down at my phone the whole time because, like I said, we're on Facebook and Instagram. So, okay, I've been live for a minute and a half, so give it a couple more minutes. I'm always late to the party, so I figured other people are too. So I was trying not to make anyone feel rushed. Hey ladies! I put glitter in my hair. I don't know if you can see it. My color's fading and I need to redo it. So I went with some sparkles. I also, okay, so if you didn't look at the event on Facebook, I guess I'll talk to Instagram for this one. I did create this Zentangle watercolor leaf last night, so I would have an example for you. And I took a photo of it and I uploaded it to the event on Facebook, so you can see this if you need something to follow along with. I also posted an older one I did that was it was from 2017, so I just felt like I needed to do one that was updated. So that's on the Facebook page. I'm also just gonna prop it up here so you can look at it. It's not like super awesome right there, but maybe it'll do between the photo that I posted and that. And then I'll also, in between letting the watercolor dry and doing the marker on top of the watercolor for the Zentangle leaf, I'm just going to alternate between Instagram and Facebook so I don't leave anyone out. So in between letting the watercolor dry and doing the marker on top of the watercolor, we are going to just make some baby leaves. And we are going to, this is the optional part, so then we're going to punch holes in them and we're just going to hang them on some yarn or twine. So I'm going to go over the materials and then we'll jump into it. So I came prepared this time. Last time I felt like I was just grabbing stuff from all over. I try to be a little more organized this time. Okay, so we are going to, I'm going to do the main materials first, and then we'll do the optional ones. So you're going to need watercolor. You don't have to have a fancy set. You don't need anything over the top. I'm going to close this window so it's less distracting because the sun's setting. I got this set off of Amazon, like, I don't know, a few years ago for like $12, I think. It doesn't matter. Honestly, if you're just starting watercolor and you are worried about what watercolor paints to use, just get something cheap. It doesn't matter. Use Crayola. What you want to worry about is getting a good brush because that makes all the difference. So make sure you have watercolor paints. Make sure you have water. So my cup of water. You want a paper towel or a towel of some sort so you can dab your watercolor brush on it. And then you want a black marker, so I use a Sharpie. On this, I used a fine tip Sharpie for the outline, and then I went back with just a regular black gel pen and I did the inside. So that's one of the things we'll touch on tonight, is just using different line weights to create depth and shading. We won't go super into it, but you can already see by the different thicknesses of the lines. That's what we mean when we say the weight of the line. It's the thickness of the line, the heaviness of the line. So you can see with the heavier lines and blacked out areas, obviously that would create shading if you were doing some type of portrait or drawing. Okay. Oh, and then you'll also need a pencil with an eraser or an eraser on the side. So we're going to draw our leaves first, but if you need a template, I've uploaded one to my website, and then there's also one in the event on Facebook. So multiple ways you can get it. I have a Google Drive that I just link the templates to for you to download. So do whatever works for you, whatever's easiest. Okay, optional materials. Oh, duh. You need a paintbrush. I need a paintbrush for the paint, guys. Okay. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say guys. People. Optional materials. Scissors. Because we will be cutting out the smaller leaves. You'll need a hole punch to punch holes in them, obviously. You're gonna need, we're gonna do 3 leaves, so just 3 markers. Now when you pick your marker colors, make sure they're light enough so when you put the black over it, it's contrasted enough. So I wouldn't really go any darker than this, or it's not going to show up for you and you're going to be disappointed. It's going to be too close in color. And then I actually use the Sharpie on the inside of those for some reason, so it's up to you what you want to do for that. And then you will need twine, yarn, ribbon, whatever you want to use, totally fine. Okay, so, and then I use this, I just use a dropper to get water and then put it on my watercolor palette, just a little bit easier than like dabbing it a million times. Okay, so first we are going to draw our big Zentangle leaf, and it might look a little overwhelming, but I promise you it's not as difficult as it looks. It just looks crazy once you get all the like artwork and pattern in. So if you need to, you can pull up the template, you can trace it, you can print it out. If you have really small littles, you can print it out, just have them do the Zentangle patterns right on the printout. Whatever works for you. I am going to use watercolor paper for this leaf, but you could use mixed media paper, you could use like Bristol board would be fine. This is actually Bristol board I'm going to use for the smaller leaves, so you can kind of hear it's a little bit thicker than regular paper, than regular like sketchbook or drawing paper. So make sure you have the right side. On your watercolor paper, you want the textured side, okay? And we're going to start with our pencils. And I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to wing it and draw it. So like last time, I'm going to try, hey Martin, I'm going to try to draw it for you guys. I did it again. For you. Stop saying guys. And show it to the camera. So this might get, let me make sure I have the right side. Yeah, okay. This might get a little tricky for me, but hang tight. We'll get through this. So I'm just going to kind of look at this one. It doesn't have to be completely mirrored on both sides, so don't feel like it has to be symmetrical, and don't even feel like you have to draw this exact leaf, okay? There's a million leaf shapes. Like you could even, this one is kind of similar on a smaller scale. You could even do, if you really want to, you could do a simple one like this, but I hope you challenge yourself a little bit more than that. So let's just jump in, because this is definitely going to take an hour. first I am going to, I'm going to do the center line. So I have my, oh, great angle. Love it, love it, love to see it. This center line will give me the midpoint for my top and bottom curve of the leaf, okay? And it doesn't have to be straight. This one's actually a little curved. So you're just going to draw a line down the page, okay? I may want just a little bit longer, okay? And so then the middle of this point is going to be the middle of this hump, okay? So I'm going to kind of like make a baby U and then go up and then come back down. So it's like drawing a hill, right? And if it's not totally centered, it's fine. Mine's not completely centered, but it's just to give you an idea of where you're going to stop and start, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing down here. It's just going to be the upside down version of this, right? So you're going to go up and then curve down and then curve back up. So mine is way, way, way off center. So I'm just going to bring the line down like that and erase this part. And it doesn't really matter if your pencil is a little too dark or if you have eraser marks, because when we put the marker on this, you're not even going to see it. And the paint will help cover it up too in the patterns. So, okay, so we've got 2 on each side, right? So let's just go 1, 2. See, mine are not symmetrical. It doesn't matter. And I drew this one by hand last night without using the template. So you'll be able to see the difference when I draw it this way versus when I can actually sit it down in front of me. But that's okay. Okay, so we got 3 more on each side that will do just like that. So I'm going to turn it like this so you can see that how the shape is similar. Okay, so go out, then in, then out, then in. Okay. It's like a worm or snake or something like that. Okay. A splatter. It's gonna look like a splatter when I'm done. That's okay. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing. On this side. Okay. And then we've got 1, 2 more. Mine's probably not going to look identical to this. I'm actually going to draw, you can continue to do this or you can do these 2 parts. I'm going to do these 2 parts so I know how much room I have left for these 2 because mine are going to be smaller than what's on that paper because mine are all wonky and there's not going to be enough space. So, just going to draw 1, 2. Okay. So now I'm going to do the sides. 1, 2. Totally stoked on that little part, but that's okay. Okay, so then 1, 2. Alright, that's okay. Alright, so that's the main shape of my leaf. Hopefully yours turned out a little better. And now we are going to draw this little stem on the leaf. And to me, it kind of looks like a bone, like the end of a dog, like a cartoon bone. So you're going to we're going to do 2 lines down, and then we're going to do the shape at the bottom, which is kind of like a very loose W shape, right? My pencil's really hard to see. Okay. We're going to be going over this with markers, so let me show you now. Okay, so that's my pencil right now. I'll show you on Instagram in just a second. I just want to make sure Facebook can see it. Okay, because the lighting's a little different. Okay, so there you go, Instagram. Okay. So yeah, like I said, we'll be going over this in markers, so it'll be a lot more visible once we get this part down. I just want to be able to show you guys the complete process from start to finish. And yeah, pencil's a little hard. Maybe, no, it's definitely not better. Okay. The lighting's so much darker on Facebook than Instagram. Okay, so we're going to draw left side of our stem and then the right side of our stem, okay? And then at the bottom, just do like a kind of loose, like a W, right? Kind of loose W. Okay. Nothing crazy, right? Pretty easy. Okay, so now we need to fill in the lines that we're going to draw our patterns in between. Okay, so what you're going to do is just start connecting. You don't worry about copying this exactly. This is kind of hard to see if you don't have the template or the outline. So again, I really encourage you to go to the event page on Facebook and download the template, or at least look at it so you have an understanding of these lines. So it doesn't have to match, like I said. So we're just going to start connecting from the center of the leaves to our center line that we drew, okay? So just continue doing that. And then you can even take these parts that curve inside, you can even take those and then connect them down to the lines you already drew to create those veins in the leaves, okay? So let's just start doing that with all of them. And don't overthink it, just do it freely without worrying like what connects to what, because it's not going to matter. It's going to look great no matter what direction your lines go. Once you start filling in the patterns and get the color on there, it's going to look awesome, no matter which way these little things go. Okay. Okay, so that's one side. So you're going to do the same thing on the other side, okay? Make sure everybody can see it before I keep going. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to start at the bottom this time. See, they don't have to be symmetrical. It doesn't matter. So keep going, and after we do this, we're gonna pick out our colors for the watercolor, and I'm gonna discuss analogous colors. So if you don't know what the color wheel looks like, basically we're going to pick 3 colors that are beside each other on the color wheel to use for our leaf colors. So you can start thinking about that if you've already finished filling in your leaf. So it should look something like this. It doesn't have to look identical to this. It doesn't have to be the same shape. But just make sure you have plenty of lines to be able to paint different colors and fill in with different patterns. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Anything? I'm gonna have a sip of my tea. And like Heidi on Facebook said, the pencil was really hard to see. So like I said last time, if you guys have anything like that, you need to let me know, or if something would be easier, done a different way for next time, definitely share that with me. Like I said, I'm always looking to improve these videos, and I want to make sure that I'm providing, you know, helpful information to you guys. And if you can't see it, it's not going to do any good, right? Okay. So I am going to keep it simple. Okay, so if you have a color wheel or you have a picture of a color wheel, you can Google a picture of a color wheel, whatever you want to do. There's one on the events page. We're going to pick 3 colors on the color wheel that are right beside each other. So I'm going to keep it simple. It's fall. I chose an orange, a red-orange color and a light red pinkish color for this one. So I'm going to do something similar with cool colors this time, right? So normally it would be fall feeling colors, red, oranges, yellows, things like that. But since I already did one of those for you to look at, I'm going to do a cool color scheme this time. So I'm going to do, actually, I kind of want to do red and red, violet, and violet. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So it'll actually won't be a cool color scheme. But that just hit me just now, so I want to do that. So I'm going to be using this red, violet, and purple, and red. So it's going to be, let's see if I can, these 3 colors right here, okay? And what we're going to do is you want to make sure that your watercolor paints are nice and wet. You don't want them too wet, but you don't want them too dry. So I use this dropper, and I just put a couple of drops in each pan. So that way it keeps it wet, and I don't have to worry about, is my brush wet enough every single time I dip my brush in there, okay? So take your paintbrush, and we are going to just start filling in. I'm going to go color by color, okay? So, for example, if I was going to do all of the pink, I would just go in, do the pink, fill all the pink parts in, right? And then I'll go back and do my orange, okay? And we'll go do the orange parts, and then we're going to fill in the red parts, okay? So color one by one. You don't want to mix colors because then, I mean, it's okay if they bleed a little bit into each other, but you don't want to blatantly mix the colors because then it's not going to look as crisp. Okay, so another thing is try not to put the same colors beside each other every time, right? So see, it's okay that they touched right here. I've got 2 oranges. Let's see, maybe right here the pinks touch just a little bit, and then here the reds touch a little bit. But overall, you can see that, I'm sorry, you guys can't see this. I'm just using it as an example. You can see that the colors are spaced out pretty evenly. Oh, Sadie siding in the background for you guys. So I'm going to start with my red violet. And actually, I'm going to do my red, then my red violet, then violet. So you can pick 3 colors off the color wheel that you like. For example, you could do red, orange, and red, orange. You could do blue, violet, and blue, violet. Like I said, I'm going to do red, red, violet, and violet. So pick 3 colors that you like. We're not going to use the same colors when we move on to the next project, but pick 3 that you want to use for this. And you can even see, actually, my stem, I picked a totally different color that's just in the same family. So I picked like a mustard yellow. So if you want to pick a color that's not within that color scheme, go right ahead. That'll be like your, woo, freedom. Like you're like, I can do whatever I want part right there. So I'm going to dip my brush in water. And then I'm going to dip my brush in my paint. So I said I'm going to start with the red, okay? And then I'm just going to start filling in my parts, okay? It doesn't matter what order you go in. It doesn't matter if it gets slightly outside of the part. Just make sure that you just fill it in mostly. And it doesn't have to be even. You may have lighter and darker spots, and that's totally okay. That'll help build depth in it. So you can see some of my pink parts are a little darker in some areas. It actually looks really awesome when it's finished. So let's just continue. I'm talking a lot and I should be painting more because this one takes a little bit longer than last time. And just a pro tip, if you want your watercolor to dry quickly, you can use a blow dryer like you would use on your hair. That's why I have a second project for you, so we can kill that time and with a second project, and we don't have to worry about having a blow dryer. But sometimes when I'm working on paintings, if I have multiple things going, or even if I'm in a hurry and need to dry layer and then have do the second layer pretty quickly, I'll use a blow dryer. I don't care. $9 on Amazon. Sold. Okay, so I'm just filling in all my little areas. Okay. And if you need, if you think you're going to need pattern ideas, you can use this as an example, and then I'll be showing you what I'm drawing as we draw it. But there is a sheet on the events page on Facebook. I feel like a broken record saying this over and over again, but I've made a point this month to put all the resources there so you wouldn't have to dig around in multiple places. So go to the Facebook event page, and there are pattern examples on there, and some of them are trickier than others, but I wanted to make sure I provided different options for you because I know people are at different levels, different skill levels. So this is what I've got so far. I'm trying to hurry a little bit, so it's not perfect, but that's okay. And if you don't get this finished in the hour, totally fine. Just take your time. Don't feel like you have to rush through it. Finish it up. And then I would love for you to tag me on Facebook or Instagram. I love seeing artwork from you. Last month when we did the bats, I got, I think, 3 different bats, and, or no, well, 3 different pictures, but 6 or 7 different bats, I think. Maybe that's right. And it was awesome. It just like lights me up because I really miss teaching kids art in person and seeing all their projects. I love how free kids are with their thinking. I said this last time, like they don't think about the rules of artwork, and so they just do whatever comes to them. And some of the color schemes that they come up with and the ideas are just so cool. Actually have artwork from one of my students hanging in our living room. And then we have another big painting that I did with our nieces. If you've been following me for a while, you saw it on my Instagram. It says quarantine. Well, actually I won't say it because this is kid friendly. So it says quarantine isn't fun. That's what we're gonna say. Okay, I'm moving on to my red violet. So I just dipped my brush in water, and now I'm gonna fill in spots with red violet. This is what the red looks like so far. Okay, so I'm gonna add red violet to that. But anyway, yeah, they come up with things I would never come up with because I'm so worried about the rules of art, you know. I've tried to loosen up and not worry about the rules so much as I get older with artwork because it's so just like constrains you and ruins some really awesome ideas when you can't get out of your head to just paint. Okay. Red, violet, red. I have to keep saying it in my head so I don't dip my brush in the wrong color. I posted on my Facebook page today, but for those that don't follow me on Facebook, you should, for one. My page is just Christalle Bodiford Art. So it's just like my Instagram, just to add art to the end of it. But Arteza is having a sale today for 60% off. So they had some really great stuff. If you have small kids, they had a finger paint set and also triangle colored pencils. And so those are really good for little kids. If you don't have really young kids, there's just some really great art products on there. I bought myself a watercolor set, a 2 watercolor set instead of pans like I normally use, and an acrylic set because my acrylic paint was literally like as old as my college degree. Let's just say that. So I had to get some new paint. So I got some tubes. Make sure I'm prepared for the next acrylic project. Yesterday I painted on leaves, not just these paper leaves, but actual leaves, and I'm going to share those with you before this live is over, because if you are a parent and you're looking for something a little more fitting for adults, Zentangle wise, this would be fun for you. As I told my friend Tori earlier, this is the kid version, and I'm going to show you the adult version. Okay, so I just finished my last red violet. So there is the red violet and the red, and now I'm going to add the violet, okay? Okay. And I'm right-handed. I always start on the right side, but don't feel like you have to do that, especially if you're left-handed. Do whatever works for you. I will say when we get to the pattern part, if you are right-handed, you're probably going to want to start on the left side, okay? And if you are left-handed, you're going to want to start on the right side. And I will show you why. I smeared mine on purpose so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. But for those that are left-handed, you probably deal with this all the time, right? Because everything's for right-handed people. But if you start on the right side and you are right-handed, you're going to smear all your ink that isn't dry when you get over to the other side. Okay, so there's just a little bit of purple on there, okay? Keep filling it in. If you're done, think about what patterns you want to use when we fill these in, okay? I like to keep the patterns pretty simple because it's not fun if it's stressful, right? It's not fun if you have to think too much. It's just all about letting go and just being creative. Zentangles are called Zen tangles for a reason, right? Help you chill out and just be present on what you're working on in the moment. I don't even want to use the word work. Shouldn't be work, it should just be fun. Okay. I am on the left side of my leaf now. Just moved over here. I'm at the bottom. Kind of like how that looks with some of them not done though. And you could do that if you wanted. Sometimes when I'm doing the patterns, I'll leave an empty space or two just for contrast. Okay. We are at 35 minutes, so we need to wrap this part up. So I am going to move a little bit faster here because I want to make sure. Oh, I thought I stuck my paintbrush in my tea. Oh, okay. Instagram is having a poor connection right now for some reason. So it's reconnecting. So wait for our Instagram friends to come back. Keep filling in those spaces. Like I said, don't stress about getting it perfectly in the lines. When we put the marker on there, some of that will get covered up, and it's totally fine. So like a little bit of my purple is bleeding into my red violet, and it's at the edges, and so it's fine. Don't stress about it. Everybody does things differently, and everybody's leaves will look different. Okay, so my my leaf is completely filled in except for my stem. So I'm going to fill that in with a color that I like, that I think goes with red, violet, violet, and red. So let's see. I'm going to go with a magenta color. Just because, no reason. Okay. Our Instagram's still not working. Oh, thank you, Heidi. That's really sweet. So yeah, here's my leaf. So we're gonna let this dry while we work on these little leaves. Okay. So you only need one sheet of paper. We're just gonna make 3. We don't want to get too crazy into it because we want to make sure we have time to do the marker part of our big leaf. Okay. So I'm just letting my leaf sit right here to dry. It shouldn't take too long because it does take a while in between colors. So, okay. Oh, there it is. Couldn't find my other sheet of paper. Okay, so we're going to take our paper. Like I said before, this is Bristol board, but you can use whatever you want. You could even use like just regular printer paper. Totally up to you. This is a little thicker than regular paper. And that's because when we punch holes in the leaves, I just want to make sure it's thick enough. But I'll show you a little trick to get around that, okay? Alright, so, oh, I lost my Instagram feed. So, let me just set that up again. Sorry, Facebook friends. I want to make sure that everybody... Sorry about this, guys. I don't know why Instagram just stopped. Okay. We don't need a title. Just do it. Okay. It looks like Instagram's not wanting to work for me. So I'm just going to continue with Facebook, and hopefully Instagram friends will come over. Okay, we'll see. Hopefully that will work. Okay, so if you need a template, there's a template for leaves in the Facebook event group or page, okay? So you can use that. I just am going to draw simple ones like this for tonight, just so we can get it done and you can see what the process is, okay? So I did not cut this one out just so we can go over that when it's time. Okay, so if you want to use a pencil, you can. I'm just going to use my Sharpie. Actually, I'll do one with a pencil so you can see it. That way you can see the full process. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and the pencil, actually, well, I know the pencil might be hard to see, so we're going to draw the top of our leaf. Then we're going to draw the bottom. And then don't make the don't make the stem too narrow because we are going to punch a hole and we want to make sure it's big enough, okay? So that's the leaf. And now we are going to draw veins just like we did with this one. So we draw these lines for the veins in the leaf, right? So I'm going to draw one down the center. You can go all the way to the bottom, or you can stop. Sorry. Okay, Heidi, thanks for jumping on. And then you're going to draw them out from the center. You can do 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you want. It's up to you. Okay. Bye, Heidi. Thanks for jumping on. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 more like that, and then we're going to trace it with our marker, okay? Okay. These aren't my best leaves, but it's okay. Okay. 3 leaves, okay? And then what you're going to do now is you're going to pick 3 colors, any colors you want, as long as they're light enough for the Sharpie to show up. So you're going to pick 3 colors, and then you're going to color in your leaves with the markers. I still don't have Instagram. Sorry, Instagram friends. I don't know what happened. I keep trying to connect. This is Instagram. Can't connect. Okay. 1 colored in. I got outside the line a little bit, but it's okay. Okay, I'm coloring in my 3rd leaf. And next we're going to use our Sharpie, or black marker, whatever marker you have. Okay. And we are going to go over our pencil lines with the Sharpie, okay? Make sure you cover up your pencil as closely as possible. If you get it a little outside, it's okay because the pattern will cover it up some. But try to make sure you get over your pencil lines. I'll show you why. I just did an example so you can see. So it should look like this once you've outlined everything, right? Oh, sorry, I was sitting on my legs and I fell asleep. If you can see the purple, I didn't get the Sharpie right over the pencil, and so you can see the pencil line. So that's why we want to make sure we cover it up, okay? So once you have your Sharpie done, then you can go try Instagram one more time. I hope it works. I feel so bad. Okay, then you're going to take your pen and we're going to start filling in a pattern, okay? So you can fill in lines. You can fill in dots. Yeah. Okay, so just start filling in your leaf with different patterns, and you want to fill in every space with a different pattern, okay? So if you want to do just lines, it'll look like this. If you want to do a different shape, you could do something like this. This one's similar to what's on the template, okay? And then if you want to do different patterns, it would look something like this, okay? So we're going to, when you're done filling it in completely, you're going to cut it out, okay? So yeah, I was going to show you this. If you want to test your colors to see how they look with each other, just do a little dash of the colors on the side of your page. That's what I do before I get started, just to make sure, you know, like, oh, it's not as dark as I thought it was, or, you know, maybe you thought that peach would look cooler instead of orange, but no, you should probably stick with orange. You know, who knows, whatever it may be. Right. So this, you do not worry about finishing this right now. This is to give you something to do to practice on pattern, on line work, to practice different color combinations, just while this dries. Okay, so don't feel like you have to finish this, but it's a fun project if you want to. Okay, so once you cut it out, we are going to punch a hole in it. Now, if your paper is thin and you're worried about it ripping, you can take a piece of tape, okay, and then you're just going to put it over your leaf. Let's just say this is like the end of the leaf. So you would put the tape over it, and then you would hole punch it. So that way it adds a little more stability to the paper for you, okay? And you don't have to do it right on the leaf, like I'm doing mine at the bottom of the leaf, close to the stem. And then when you have, sorry, hold on one moment. Sorry. My husband's cousin is here, and he might rent our house, I guess, so we have to show it to him. Okay, so once you have your leaves cut out and your holes punched, then you are going to take your yarn or twine or ribbon, whatever you want to use, and I'm going to cut a piece, maybe like 1.5 feet, nothing too crazy long. Okay, first actually you want to loop it around your fingers, okay, so you just fold it over your finger so you have this little shape, okay, and then you want to tie that, so it's like that, and then you want to push that through. This is just in case you don't know how to make a knot. Okay, so this is what you're going to hang the leaves from, okay, so then you're going to put, I'm going to start with this one actually. You're going to put a leaf, no, I'm going to start with this one. You're going to go in to your leaf, okay? And then tie a knot.
Right. That's pretty good.
Okay. You're gonna have to, actually my yarn is really thin. I used the twine yesterday and so I tied a knot instead of tying the leaf, but the yarn is so thin you're gonna have to tie the leaf, which is totally fine. Okay, so then you're gonna, after you tie that, you're gonna go to your next leaf. And tie around it. Okay. So then your leaves will, when you hang them, they'll start dangling under each other, okay? So I'm going to do the last one, and then we are going to jump back on our Zentangle leaf to make sure we have enough time to finish it. Okay. So this is just for fun. You can keep adding leaves and make a longer one, obviously, or you can just cut it short. These will make great little, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, these will make great little Thanksgiving decorations. You could incorporate a name and use them as place cards for family meals. You could also, if you wanted to, you could decorate them, and then on the back you could write things that you're grateful for. Put them in a jar, so when you have Thanksgiving dinner or just a family dinner of any kind, or just a day to celebrate gratitude, you can pull them out and everybody can read their leaves, or you can read them anonymously, however you want to do it. But there are so many uses. You can even use them as name tags for gifts if you wanted to do that. So that's just a fun little side project, easy project that you can do that will help you practice your Zentangle patterns and your line work. So yeah, I thought you would enjoy that. Okay, so now let's go back to this. We need our Sharpie, our black marker, right? So you want the bigger one that you have, because the finer one we're going to use to do the patterns on the inside. Okay, so you're going to go, just like we did the small leaves, you're going to go around the outside of your leaf and over the stem outline and the veins of the leaf. Okay, so when I'm done with this, all of my pencil marks should be covered up with this black marker, okay? So get to doing that, and then when you're done outlining, if you want to jump ahead, if you finish before I do, feel free to take your smaller marker pen and start filling in your sections with the patterns. And like I said, there is pattern inspiration on the Facebook event page, and there's simple ones and more difficult ones. So do whatever comes easiest to you. It could be anything: dots, lines, checkers. You can do cubes, seriously, anything. And try mixing it up. Try doing more like patterns that are close together versus patterns that are more spaced out. So you can see the difference in the how the line affects the way you see things, the way that it looks to you. You'll notice when you use more space between your patterns that they don't look as dense, right? And they look less shaded. They look more open. Okay, so I'm finishing up the outline part of my leaf, and then I'll show it to you, and then I'm going to start filling in the veins. Okay, so I've got the outline done. All right. Actually, I'm going to do my stem before I do the veins, just because it's easy. Okay, so my stem is done. The bottom, oops, sorry. I always have a hard time with finding the right spot. So at the bottom it's done. Now I'm going to fill in these parts. Instagram friends are going to have to come to Facebook, I guess. That's always scary. I have a much bigger following on Instagram. Facebook, I have a third of, I think about a third of the following that I have. No, almost a quarter. It's in between a third and a quarter. The following I have on Instagram. So I'm going to work on, I've been working on that actually. I'm trying to be better about posting stuff on Facebook. It's such a different audience. It's tough when you have a bigger following to use a different platform, but I'm trying to use multiple platforms so you can watch it however you are able. I even actually, the last Kids Craft Hour I posted on YouTube as well, and I'm going to try to do that moving forward. So if you can't catch it on Facebook, maybe you can catch it on YouTube. I'm doing the final half of my leaf veins. And then I'm going to be moving on to the pattern. And like I said, we're not going to get this done, but I do want to show you the full process. So I'm going to do a pattern in one section, and then I'm going to show you the other project for adults. Okay, so this is my leaf completely outlined with Sharpie. So the first step we did was add pencil to draw our leaf, okay? And then we did the outline, we did the veins, and then we did the bottom stem, okay? Then we used the watercolor to fill it in with 3 different colors that are analogous colors. So that's a color scheme that consists of 3 colors beside each other on the color wheel, okay? So for this one, I did red, which was actually a pink, a tint of red, okay? Red, orange, and orange. And for this one, I did red, red, violet, and violet, okay? So 3 colors that are beside each other on the color wheel. Then we outlined it with Sharpie. And now we're going to fill it in with pen, okay? So I'm just going to use a regular gel pen, fine or extra fine tip pen, and I'm just going to start filling in my pattern. And like I said, there's pattern inspiration on the event page. You can also just do a Google search for Zentangle patterns or line patterns. But you don't want to pick patterns that are too big for this project because the space that you're filling in is pretty small. So you want to make sure the patterns you create are small as well. So I'm just filling in a few so I can show you what it looks like. And then you can fill in the rest on your own, and when you post them, be sure to tag me. If you post them on Instagram, it's just at Christalle Bodiford. And if you post on Facebook, it's at Christalle Bodiford Art. When I finish these videos, I always edit them and upload them for you to see later. So you can find that information on my website on the blog section, which is just christallebodiford.com/blog. And I will also post the information on my social media channels. I do offer art classes for children, and you can book those on my website. It's a virtual class for 1 hour, and I can cover whatever medium you or your child wants. If you don't have a preference, that's totally fine. I have a library of lesson plans that I can choose from. Okay, so I filled in 5 different sections So you see that? Okay, so you're just going to continue doing that throughout your whole leaf, okay? Actually, I just realized, now that I'm not on Instagram, this doesn't have to be an hour. So let's just finish. I mean, who cares, right? Maybe I should just do Facebook from now on. So let's just go ahead and finish because it doesn't matter. I'm waiting to hear back from a client on my next commission, so I can't start on that until I get an email reply anyway. So let's see, I'm going to do some stars. So far the patterns I've done are just lines, straight lines, zigzag lines. I did some hearts, some polka dots, and zigzag lines. If I didn't say that, maybe I said that already. And then you can also see there's all kinds of patterns over here. I even did like some filled in parts, which I guess that's kind of make it look like rocks. I don't know, like stones or something. And did some flowers and circles. And then I also even did like fish scales, so, or mermaid scales, if you want to call them that. And the way you do that is just basically doing U shapes repeatedly. So let me finish this one with a star, and then I'll show you how to do that. And then if anyone has any questions, just feel free to ask. Heidi was on, and she jumped off. I don't know if anyone else is on. I don't know why it doesn't tell me that on Facebook for some reason. Instagram tells me, but also I'm a total noob at Facebook Live. Like, this is literally my first Facebook Live, so I was a little nervous, and I wasn't really sure what the interface was going to look like while I was filming, but now I know I can't see if anyone's watching, which is weird. So normally I would definitely be talking to you. Okay, what was I going to do? Oh, the scales. Okay. So I'll do one row so you can see. I'm doing these upside down actually. So I'll do one this way and then I'll show you another one. So the first row would look like this. Okay. Just upside down U's. Okay. And then you're going to go over that. In the center of the U is going to be over the center of where the previous scales meet. So I'll explain that right now. Okay, so you see how these meet up at the center point, right? Okay, so when you draw this second line of them, you want to make sure that the point where they meet lines up with the center of the previous one. Okay. And if you just keep doing that over and over again until you fill up the space, and that will look like scales by the time you're done. So this one is upside down, like I said, because I don't know why I did that, but it did. Brains are weird. So when I'm done with this one, I will show you the correct one, and I'll do it. Let's see, pick a space that's good size. I'll do this one. I'll show you the finished product. For next month's Kids Craft Hour, this one's a little more than an hour, but we are going to make holiday cards. So whatever you celebrate, these are non-denominational cards. They're not religious in any way, so don't worry about that. we are going to have 3 different designs to choose from. You can make all of them or one of them, whatever works for you. Okay, so there you go. So this one is upside down and this one is correct. Or, well, not upside down. Neither one is wrong. But you can see the difference. It makes a big difference, right? Okay, so I'm just going to keep filling in. And you'll see why it's called Zentangle. You know, if I wasn't trying to rush to get through a tutorial, then you can just kind of zone out on it and really enjoy making the patterns and coming up with different designs and just seeing how different shapes make different things look. Let's see, what else do I want to do? I like these little dashes. I'm going to do some of those. Yeah, so next month will be watercolor as well. I really love watercolor, and most of my projects are watercolor, but I do, actually I started painting with acrylic when I was younger. That was my first painting love, but I hated watercolor, and now I absolutely adore watercolor, which is super weird. Here, it's coming in nicely. It's getting filled in. I've just got one more up top, and then I can knock out this bottom area. Oh, totally forgot to show you. Okay, so you see these little smudges on my paper. I don't know if you can see them. I guess you can see them better when I'm back here. So I'm right-handed, and I started on the right side. So every time I did one, I was smearing it. I should have started at the top on the left side and gone down. Or started at the top and then gone to the side and then left and then back to the right. So that's what I was saying. If you are right-handed, start on the left side, or just be aware of where you put your hand, or you can even move your paper around as you go. I've heard some teachers say don't move your paper around, that you shouldn't do that, but I find that so constrictive, and it's like, if something works for you, why not do it, right? Everything doesn't have to be this rigid one way to do something. Like, we're all different people. We all enjoy different things and do things differently and feel comfortable in different ways. So it's important to find what works for you, and don't worry about if it works for other people. Just keep going with what is working for you. So move the paper around if you need to move the paper around. It's not a big deal. It's only a big deal if you're trying to show people something and then you're moving it around like I did last time. Wasn't very helpful. Okay, so my top part's filled. I'm gonna move on to the bottom part. And if you're still here, thank you for sticking around. I did not anticipate this being longer than an hour, but that's a lesson in time management for me and not running my mouth. But I think it's important that I talk during these lives because, one, nobody just wants to sit here in silence. And two, I can always give you little tips and tricks while I'm drawing, and that will be helpful for you. Ooh, I got outside the line a little bit, so I'm just going to bring my pen around and make that leaf a little bit bigger. Nobody will ever know. These are also great for gratitude practices. You can do patterns and also mix in things you're grateful for. So if you wanted to alternate, you could do a pattern in one section and then in the next section write something that you're grateful for. It's a great exercise for not only children but adults. It's always important to recognize the things in our life that we're grateful for so we don't take them for granted, right? Some people know, some don't, but I couldn't walk for a year, and it was recent, and it was really terrible, and You just don't realize the things that you really take for granted in life that just come so naturally, and health being one of those big ones. But simple things, even, you know, like a home cooked meal, a hug, a cup of tea, getting outside, feeling a breeze on your face. There's so many little things that you can be grateful for. And I feel like we, a lot of times, just focus on the big things. Especially if we're about to go on lockdown or something, because COVID numbers are rising again, I think I saw. It's like, definitely be grateful for the time we can get outside. And spend with family. You know, you gotta stay in your little bubble, but it's okay. Just update you on what mine looks like. Okay. I don't know. I can't tell where the lighting's better. Right there. So you can see some of my patterns. Okay, they're really simple. I think now I'm just gonna do some, I like to do square spirals sometimes. See, I got kicked out. She was barking, so now she's sitting at the door, wishes she was still in here with me. This one's kind of cool. It's like basically drawing and connecting triangles. And then so you draw and connect triangles, okay? And then you just randomly fill in the occasional triangle. It actually looks pretty cool. Isn't that cool, right? Okay. Now, if you already finished yours, post it in the event so other people can see it. I'm sure they would love the inspiration too. It's always cool to see what other people do. Everybody's minds are so different. You just never know what other people are going to come up with. Or what you're even going to come up with. Sometimes I surprise myself. Spirals. Spirals. I would love to hear from you guys too. Did it again. I would love to hear from you also about the time, about the day and time. Like if this is a good time to host this, or if there's a better day and time that works for people. I would love to know about that because I want to make sure people can actually attend, even though the video will be up later. I think it's always fun to like actually attend an event, right? Okay, I've almost got one side done. I don't have that many more spots to fill. I'm doing checkers on the last spot on the right side. Then I'll show you, and then I'm going to finish the last few sections I have. Alright, so I'm going to finish this side. I just saw a section I didn't put Sharpie. Whoops. Okay, problem solved. Definitely like when more color shows through, I think. Checkers are cool though, those turn out neat. I don't know if I'm a fan of the pebble look though, that like blocks out all the color. If there's a different artwork medium you would like to see a project in, just let me know in the comments, and I am all for it. I ordered the acrylic paint set so I can come up with some fun projects with acrylic, but I know a lot of parents don't like to deal with acrylic paint with their kids, so I have to be smart about how we use it. I'm looking out for you parents. I understand. That's why I pick watercolor, because it washes out. And you can also, if you don't know this, you can use like Crayola markers if you don't have watercolor paint, and you can just use the paintbrush, put a little marker on paper and use a paintbrush and use that as paint instead of watercolor. It's a great way to get around buying paint. Especially because most kids have to have markers for school, right? Is that still a thing? I don't know. Art doesn't really exist anymore in schools, I guess. So sad. Okay, I'm done with my leaf. I'm going to write my name down here, and you can do the same if you want. Okay, so we're done with that. So I'm going to show you. That's it, you're done. If you're done, you're done. You're done with the patterns.